Hey, good morning. It's Charles Folkart on February 6, 2017. Welcome. I got to remember to look into the camera and not down here at me. Okay, I got to get into the habit. It's just a little spot there, so I don't remember to look there. But hey, I've got something here that I've been thinking about this morning for 3 hours now, maybe longer, and it's been brewing up in me. But I wanted to show you a couple things. There's a lot of people now on Twitter, and they're talking about how with Trump, they're finally winning. And they can hardly handle the winning because we've lost for so long, and now they're excited about winning. And I tell them, you might want to save some of your energy because we're only in the first inning. And this rigged game may well go into extra innings, which I think it will. And then I caught this tweet together, and it was pretty ironic. Here's this tweet here where they're talking about taxation is theft. And I've done 2 videos directed at young people and trying to show you that you now have the means with social media and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and your phone and texting to be able to organize together and do what the baby boomers were not able to do. We were not able to organize as well as you can now. So you could fight this illegal taxation and win. And see, the point I want to make here is there's 2 things here. One, you are a unique individual and you have inalienable rights granted to you by God, and you're made in God's image, and you should be a free individual. And the federal government, in their federal income tax, is taking your hard-earned money, your income, based on your time. You're giving hours of your life up, and you're allowing the federal government and the state government to take your energy and your labor and your time and your efforts, and they have no right to that. And you're occupied with playing their game according to their rules. And you think you're winning now because you've got a leader out there that's kind of he's basically telling you what you want to hear, and he is doing some things that need to be done. And the powers that be knew they had to change. And I've talked about this in my other videos where I used the hot water tank and the pressure relief valve. Trump is a pressure relief valve. So he's keeping you in the game, and he's keeping you young people playing the game according to their rules. And he's allowing you to put a couple of points on the scoreboard, and you think you're winning. You're not winning. You're not winning. You're losing because they're taking your money, and you're not free. How can you be not free and win? How can you allow the federal government to take your money and think you're winning? You're not winning. What you're doing is you're playing the game according to their rules. And their rules say you're going to pay tax to us. So if they get your money, they win. They get points on the board because they're taking your money, and then they waste it. And they spend it on what they want to spend it on instead of you being able to spend it on what you want to spend it on, which I would assume is your family. Maybe you want to have instead of only 1 child, maybe you want to have 4. Huh? Wouldn't that be great to have a big family and not have to worry so much about how you're going to pay for it? If you weren't paying the taxes, you'd have more money in your pocket. And maybe you'd have a nicer house. You see what I'm saying here? And I want to bring up a point. Now, this is an edit, so it's going to feel like it's out of joint because it is. And I wanted to come back here because I forgot. Look at Donald Trump's tweet. Okay? He says, I call my own shots. And most people that like Donald Trump respect him for it. It says, and everyone knows it. All right? So, why would President Trump object to the people of the United States, you young people especially, and anybody else that cares about what I'm talking about here? Why would Mr. Trump object to you calling your own shots when he says, excuse me, we're going to give the power back to the people? Come on, folks. He's all but told you that he shouldn't object. And what's the most important thing that the government takes from you is your money. The government doesn't give you anything unless you're on welfare and all this other handouts, and you're probably a working person if you're white. Stop giving them your money, folks, and tell Trump that you're calling your own shots from now on. It's beautiful. That you young people especially, because the older guys, it's already too late for them, and their old dog, new tricks and all that ain't going to work. This is something that older people should have learned a long time ago, or they're probably never going to get it. But I want to tell you a story about when I was in high school. I was an athlete in high school, and I'm not bragging, that's a long time ago, but I was a pretty good athlete when I was in high school. I won the best athlete contest, who could throw the ball the furthest, who could run the fastest, jump the highest, most sit-ups. I did 200 sit-ups, and Greg Scoggins from South Carolina beat me. He did 201, but I still won the contest. Anyway, I was a good athlete, and I played C football, and I played B football, and I was an MVP quite a few times on B football. So I was ready as a junior to move up and play varsity football. And we had one of the winningest high school football teams in the San Gabriel Valley. And in 1965, just 2 years before I was a junior, maybe 3 years before I was a junior, our high school won the CIF championship in the San Gabriel Valley. So we were a high school winning football team. We had a high school winning football team, and we had a high school winning track team while I was there. But that's another story. We had the winningest coach in the San Gabriel, Los Angeles area was the coach at my high school. And I had 4 coaches on the varsity football team. 3 of them were track coaches, and 1 of them was the head football coach and the athletic director for the high school. So when I was a junior, I expected to play first string halfback on the varsity football team because I had earned it. But there was a junior there named Marvin, and he ran the 100 just a little bit faster than I did, maybe 0.2 of a second. And he was a sophomore, so he was 1 year younger than I was, and he was a little bit faster. So our winningest football coach, who had an ego bigger than a basketball, he was going to groom this sophomore to play varsity football, and he was going to sit me on the bench second string. And as soon as I realized that during practice, I realized what was going on here. And you got to remember, I didn't have a father to tell me, give me advice. I didn't have anybody to really go to. This is something I decided all on my own. My mother wasn't involved. She was busy working and tired. And so I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't go to the coaches. I didn't get any counseling from anybody. I just said, you know what? I'm not playing second string to that sophomore because I was stronger upper body strength, and I was kicking his ass in practice. Every chance I get to hit him, man, I was just knocking his ass. And the coaches could see that. Because he'd fall on the ground sometimes. I'd knock him over. And when I finally realized that I wasn't going to play first string football, high school varsity football, and I really wanted to play I was looking forward to that, man. That was because I also ran track. And I was on the track team in the spring, and I was on the track team in the spring and the football team in the fall. And I really wanted to play halfback, but I quit. I went up to I went into the office I remember standing outside waiting to get into the office of the head football coach, and I said, I'm quitting. And he didn't try to talk me out of it. He didn't say anything. He says, well, okay, he's the winningest coach. He's going to do it his way. So I quit. So this is another insert because I watched through this again and I get another idea. I wanted to tell you that my high school football coach, the head coach of the football team, he didn't care about me. He didn't give one rat's butt about me. He was only looking out for himself. And that's what's happening in this country. You think Donald Trump cares about you, and he may only care about you for that much. But nobody's going to care about you as much as you're going to care about yourself. So anything that's going to get done for you, you're going to have to do it yourself. And I've learned that through my lifetime. And I could tell you several other stories besides this one that happened when I was in high school regarding the football team. Folks, you got to take care of yourself because nobody else is going to do it for you. And the other three coaches that were on the track team, they never come to me and says, hey, Chuck, what are you doing? Or why are you doing that? Or maybe you should change your mind. They didn't say a word. So that was the fall. And that year, we did not have a very good season. And the next year, we did not have a very good season. We still won. We were a winning team, but we didn't win like we normally did. And in my junior year in college, high school, I was the co-captain of the track team, and I was the co-captain. There was 6 captains on the track team, and I was a co-captain both my junior year and my senior year on the track team. Now, we had the awards banquet at the end of the track season in 1971 when I was on the track team, and we had a winning track season that year. We won the championship the year before, and we won that year. We were champs, and that was the beginning of an 82 meet win season, which is another story. But I played a part in that. And we're at the track awards banquet, and my mother didn't show up, and I didn't have anybody at the awards banquet. I ended up at the banquet. I'm in the back of the room, and they're giving away for the C players, the freshmen, and they're giving away the awards banquets for the awards for the B team. And so now it's the varsity time. And they gave away, and they talk about how our season was. And they gave away the most valuable player. I forget who got that. And I'm in the back there. I'm going, well, I wonder who's going to get the coach's trophy. Because the coach's trophy was the most important trophy. That was the trophy that you want to get. So they got to the point where the coaches were going to give away the coach's trophy. And I'm thinking about who's going to get the coach's trophy. And Coach Craig walks from the front of the room, and he's walking back toward the back. And he walks over to me, and he goes, congratulations, Chuck. We want to award you the coach's trophy for this year. And I was floored. I had no idea. And it didn't hit me until many, many years later how important that was in my life. Now, these 3 track coaches could have said, "Oh, he's a quitter, and he's a spoil sport. He's not a team player." But Coach Craig had come to me when I was a junior, and I had just quit the varsity football team, And I remember him asking me one day in front of the whole team very early on, first or second day of the practice, Chuck, what event would you like to run? Which event would you like to participate in? And I said, Coach, you put me wherever it's best for the team. I'll run wherever you want me to run. That was when I was a junior. So 2 years later, or the next year, I got the coach's trophy. And the reason I got the coach's trophy, I believe, is because I was a team player. And I think those coaches knew that what I had done, which was quit the varsity football team, they knew how important that was to me, but I wasn't going to let that coach, no matter who he was and how many games he won and how his name was in the paper all the time, I wasn't going to let him keep me on the bench when I knew I deserved first string. And I tell you that because I was able to put that coach's trophy on my job applications as an 18-year-old man, young man. On my resumes, my first really good job, besides working at Al's Arco gas station, was for the U.S. Forest Service at the Angeles National Forest. The FCO, his name was Jim. He was a track star, I believe, in high school and college. So when he saw that I got the coach's trophy for track, I got a job at the Forest Service as a hot shot crew member, and I worked there for 3 years. And I wanted to get into Humboldt State College, which in the 1970s was very difficult to get in. Everybody wanted to go to Humboldt State. And here I was. I had taken, auto shop, and I took metal shop, and I didn't take all the classes you're supposed to take to get into college. My counselors were coming to me and go, Chuck, what do you want to be when you grow up? How do I know what I want to be when I grow up, right? Because they didn't want me taking these auto shop and metal shop classes. They wanted me to take math classes and science classes, and I didn't want to do that. I liked auto shop. So I did what I wanted to do, and I ended up being a building contractor and a real estate developer, and I made more money, and I had more fun doing that than I ever would have made taking those science classes and doing what they wanted me to do. The point is, people, everybody else is trying to get you what they want you to do. They want you to play the game their way. They want you to go by their rules. And you need to say, no, no, no. I'm a unique individual. I know what I want for myself. I know my rights. I know what's best for me. And I'm not going to let you tell me what to do. In fact, I'm going to do what it is that I need to do to make sure that I live my life the way that God wants me to. Not the way you want me to, but the way my Creator, my God, wants me to live my life. And I'm talking to you young people especially. You do not owe the federal income tax. You should not allow them to take your earnings and then let them go do what they want to do with it, because they're using it against you. They're using your money to fight you with. They want to extinguish you and the white race, and you're playing their game according to their rules. And there's not another leader out there that is willing to step up to the plate and say, this is the direction we need to go. So you're going to have to do it yourself, and you've got all the tools that you need to do it with right here on social media. And there's no excuses.
This ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people.
Folks, Trump's not going to give you back the power. He says it should belong to you, and it does belong to you, but he's not going to give you back the power. you're going to have to take it back.
For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost.
You heard it right out of the horse's mouth. The people have borne the cost. How have you borne the cost? Because you've paid the taxes. And those taxes are going to people that don't work for it. And those taxes are going to people in the government that have used your taxes for their benefit and not for yours. Stop paying the taxes, all that stops. It's that simple, folks.
Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. Politicians prospered, but the jobs left and the factories closed. The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. Their victories have not been your victories. Their triumphs have not been your triumphs. And while they celebrated in our nation's capital, there was little to celebrate for struggling families all across our land.
I hear some of you young people complaining because us baby boomers, we left you with the mess. Well, guess what? We didn't have the tools that you got, so you don't have any excuses. You can make a new game. You can make them play by your rules, and you can be the winners because now you set the game and you set the rules and you tell them this is how it's going to be. All you got to do is go on strike. Start with one day strike. Organize it, pick a day. Tax day is on the weekend this year, but make it the following Monday or make it the Friday before. And then send them a message to the federal government that we're not paying taxes anymore and you're not taking it out. And you tell Donald Trump, he's the one that told you he's going to give the power back to the people. So you tell Donald Trump, respectfully, Mr. Trump, we demand that you eliminate the federal income tax.
This is your day. This is your celebration. And this, the United States of America, is your country. What truly matters is not which party controls our government, but whether our government is controlled by the people.
Eliminate it. Federal income tax is for corporations and only corporations, not on individuals, and we want our money. Hold him to the fire. Hold his feet to the fire. He said he was going to give the power back to the people. So how do you get the power back to the people if you're still paying them income tax and they're wasting it on NASA and Iraq and the Marines covering the opium fields in Afghanistan? And the list goes on and on and on. You don't have any excuse, young people. And just because nobody else or very few other people watch my videos and agree with me and hit the like button or retweet my tweets, that doesn't mean that I'm not telling you the truth. And I'm speaking from experience, folks, because I know the government's going to do to you. They're going to do to you what they did to me and my family. They took everything. Trump is going to reorganize. The collapse is coming. The dollar's going to collapse. And they put him in charge to herd all you white folks and to go along with the new system they're going to set up because you think this man is looking out for your best interest. He's not. He wants to keep you playing the game according to their rules. He wants you to play their game. He wants you to stay in the pen. And he's not going to do the important things. All those agencies are still there. The Federal Reserve, the IRS, NASA, the wars. We're going to go to war in Iran. He still wants you to play the game the way that he wants you to play it, according to their rules. And if you do that, you're going to end up being a loser. And that's what you are right now. You're losing. You're losing. You've got a couple scores on the board, but the game ain't over yet. And when this is all said and done, if you keep playing their game, because the game is rigged, the table is tilted, and you're going to end up a loser. Unless you demand that the game be played your way, according to your rules. Thank you for watching. Embrace the love of the truth, because the love of the truth will keep you from being duped and keep you from playing their game their way. And the only thing that will happen when you play their game their way is you end up a loser. And may the grace of God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ, which I am not ashamed, I am not ashamed of the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. May his grace be with us all, for we certainly need it. See ya.